Lord, y'all, come on now. Like, we can't be doing this. Like, not in 2021 year of our Lord. Like, woke is not a thing. Stop it. Like, people need to actually understand the systems of harm we're navigating. Like, dive into them. Don't debate them. Learn them. Memorize them, internalize them, apply them to your lives, teach your friends, your family, your papa, your mama, whatever. Teach them, right? And also it reminded me of kind of the trajectory of the word triggered and like how people use it as like a joke now, like, oh, you're triggered. Like, no, y'all need to understand, like, when we're talking about harm, when we're talking about violence, it's like very real. The things that you say on this app translate into like affecting the material conditions of marginalized people, right? And so when someone comes at you, to Dio's point, someone is telling you you're harming me, you're committing violence on this app, your curiosity is coming at my expense, it's coming at the expense of my mental health, my physical health, my emotional well-being, especially in this parallelogram, you have to honor that, right?
No, not right at all. What we are witnessing is not art. This is not a sketch. These are actual black people from Generation Z talking up just pure retardation. She's talking about, your curiosity is coming at my mental well-being. So when you come into this app and trigger me, when you enter this parallelogram, she used the word parallelogram. No idea what she's talking about with that. Just geometric shapes popping off. So what you are witnessing is found footage. This is a leak from an app. It was a private conversation on an app called Clubhouse, and it was utterly insane. Now, I'm not going to comment throughout this. I could pause every 5 seconds, but instead, I'm going to let this speak for itself. I'm going to pop in only occasionally, and then I'm going to come in at the end and summarize it. Because I've added cartoon characters and a little backdrop. It's a cozy room. We got a cat. We got some rain outside. We got a fireplace. Candles, the works. But this is not doctored. In fact, the conversation is about 5 hours long. I've chiseled it down to some of my favorite bits. Basically what happened, there was a Clubhouse room. It's an app. I think it's a video conferencing app. And the title of the room was, Is Clubhouse Obsessed with Wokeism? And this triggered the fuck out of all these blacks. Now, at some point, the original moderator, who was white, relinquished power and gave moderation power to some fat black chick named Brooklyn. Now what she did is got rid of all the white people and then brought in a bunch of her black hoodlum friends. Sorry, we don't have evidence that they're hoodlums, but they definitely have weaves, put it that way. They then proceed to go on an anti-white tirade, the likes of which I've never heard before. The most racist, ignorant, moronic shit ever. Then Brett Weinstein, for some unknown reason, decided to walk into this shitscape and talk to these people. And of course, he gets dogpiled, gets accused of everything. He laughs in their face. They're like, "Are you a white supremacist?" And he's like, "What? I'm Jewish." And they're like, "Nah, you white." So it's a freaking debacle of legendary proportions, and it lets you know where the youth of the bleeps, and they're getting younger and younger by the second. Oh, a new one just got shat out. There you go. I think the average age of whites in the country is like 55, and the average age of blacks is like 2 months. So bear witness to the obscene levels of racism and stupidity and cringe from these fucking losers. I give you the mentally subpar, psychologically fragile, emotionally triggered, dumb, buffoonish racism of the blacks of Generation Z. Witness this.
And like rooms like this are not honoring that. Rooms like this are actually honestly shameful. We cannot be doing this. We cannot be trifling with people's experiences, and especially not during Black History Month. Like, I don't know what's going on. This Black History Month has been so janky. We need to do over. And that's all I'll say for now.
Thank you. What did you mean woke isn't a thing?
Like, is it like, are we too woke? Like, that's not a thing, right? Like, that's not, people have to actually understand, like, the ways in which we're engaging, understanding each other's differences and marginalizations and intersecting oppressions. We haven't even gotten to scratch the surface. Like, the marginalized people, we're carrying the weight of understanding and navigating our experiences because we have to. But those people who are operating in the majority are largely ignoring us and then, like, making fun of us with titles like, oh, wokeism, right? Like, they're not even engaging. So to feel like they're oppressed by this concept of wokeism, to feel like they can't enter a conversation for fear of being like tackled by the woke police or whatever, it's fake. It's fake. So that's what I mean.
And I want to add too, before we get to our next stack, like, understand, right, how they have like wired us and indoctrinated us to feel like there's no value in things that we enjoy widely. like look at Tulum, for example. Like everything that we do in wide numbers, all of a sudden it no longer has value, no longer has importance. And that comes from them instilling that in us. Like, my niggas, please understand, you don't have to be kind. You don't got to say this shit in a digestible way for these fucking racist white people. Let them choke on that shit. We'll be better off.
Jemima, you'll be better off if you could replace the batteries in your fucking smoke detector, you ratchet ass ghetto bitch. All right? This entire fucking thing, you're going to be hearing that beep, beep, because this broke ass do nothing whore has apparently blocked out the fucking beeps coming from the smoke detector in your dumpy ass little 1-bedroom apartment. If you have that. So keep white people out your mouth, you fucking bitch. And I kind of half wish that, you know what, I'll abort there for self-preservation, but ooh-wee.
Really, honestly, truly, like, it hurt my heart seeing y'all sitting here pleading with them to understand the differences in what we're given. Fuck all that shit. Pay me. Fuck you. That's really it. And it's Black History Month. Come on. So I just take a look at Twitter. Michael Tracy, 184,000 followers, a roving journalist. Child, the fact that
Bring him in a room.
He's here, but the fact
he got out of there quick.
Y'all shouldn't have removed him. Y'all should have left him right here because people are holding them accountable in those Twitter threads. But the fact that, he sit here and put like our trauma, our misery, people's experiences on front end, and this nigga's just getting likes and retweets. This wigger is getting likes and retweets off them. That's so problematic. Like, they literally are always going to exploit our labor. They'll exploit our trauma. They'll exploit anything, literally for the sake of some likes, for the sake of some social media presence. And it's like, you're still a fucking nobody because who are you really to have to go at people like this?
Because I was saying that Black people don't have to put their experiences on forefront in order for you to understand. Even if I'm saying to you, I don't have to pull out the theory. I don't have to pull out the literature. I don't have to do that because you're talking about me and I am of that group. So what the fuck? But Alan was was asking for that. And I wanted to interject and be like, that's fucking trauma porn. The only way that you're supposed to understand my experiences is if I tell you specifically time after time after time, after experience that I've had. No, white people, I'm talking to you specifically because now I have the forefront to do that because there was a lot of policing going on in the room. However, Black people do not have to tell you about their specific experiences in order for those experiences to be validated. Why you think that we're lying? You think that we're just up here to fucking talk shit and lie? Are you fucking crazy? I'm done.
So, is there a stat?
Oh. Yeah, we have MJ going next.
Yeah.
Can I jump on stack as well? Rochelle?
Name, please? Rochelle. Got you.
And just a reminder, non-Black folks, we're not welcoming non-Black folks to the stage. We're centering Black voices right now, so please stop raising your hands.
Right now and forever.
Great.
Who was it Rochelle who was so gracious as to explain why it matters when people who say that they are hurt or experience harm or violence, why it's important to listen to them. And then the next response is, who wants to push back on that? Are you guys out your damn mind? You are the epitome of the thing that people are saying is harming them. And to mask it as a question, is Clubhouse obsessed with wokeism? The only people obsessed with wokeism is you people who want to negate it and you people who want to co-opt it. Because what Black people are obsessed with is maybe for once getting some fucking equality. That's really all it is. Yeah, I gotta jump soon because I gotta Zoom. But I also come in these rooms to back up people like Dio and listen in because there are a lot of grifters on this app, and you guys sit in these rooms and act like you're here for a genuine conversation and to learn and to have discourse when you don't even know how to have discourse, when you don't even know the facts to even have a discourse, to have any kind of conversation with anybody. And I think that solution, I don't really know what the solution is, but for me, I block you guys. I document you guys because the next thing I know is I see you guys in a room acting like you care about these topics, saying, "Oh, I had a 200-person room where I was addressing wokeism, and it was so meaningful." It's like, no, it wasn't.
We learned so much. We learned so much from that room.
No. And this is why people like David Markovich, the things that happened with David Markovich happened. This is why because I watched all these people for months doing this exact same thing. And now they all have tens of thousands of followers because every new person doesn't get the fullness of who these people are. And Michael can parade around, the gentleman who was running this app, he can parade around as if this was just a conversation for conversation's sake and to learn, but it wasn't, because that's not what happened on the stage. What happened in here is a bunch of people saying, all right, well, now that we've heard some Black people's experiences, who wants to discredit it?
Thank you to whoever DM'd me, right? But Brett Weinstein, I'm calling you out. Somebody that they really promote on this app, right? I'm always seeing him, like, not even the town halls on the stage, but in the audience. And he's always, like, having such a huge influence on this app, right? And his nigga's mad racist. Like,
Adam Mark,
Brett, look at you, Brett.
Adam Mark.
Wait, who is it? Who is it?
Brett Weinstein under Felicity, under Exotic. So Exotic and then Felicity and then
Bring him up. Actually, bring him up.
32,000 followers, but you're not going to go back and talk about this. You're not going to talk about how we had to, what I'm saying? None of that. What's up?
Brooklyn, to put this in a little bit more of a perspective, I think Brett, Eric, and I'll let him speak for himself, but they are kind of a part of all the classical liberal groups, or I don't know what to call it, but they're kind of a part of that, the intellectual, I guess, dark web. So they're not just popular on this app, they're popular amongst people that are kind of the, anti-woke or they've been, I'll let Brett answer.
These white people are messaging me. They're talking about can a white person step up to the congregation?
Yeah, I'll let Brett explain himself.
Don't call it a congregation. Don't say that. That's racist.
Right.
And that was intentional. So good. Block him. Move more.
Was that you, Marcy, who was saying something about who I am?
Yeah, I was trying to give some context to these rooms, and I wasn't here earlier, and apparently some things were said that were insensitive. I was trying to catch up, but I was, trying to explain that you have a podcast and you're popular off this app for your POV on wokeism and stuff like that. That's all I was trying to frame it.
Appreciate it.
Also a VC, am I mistaken, or are you also an investor on this app as well?
No.
Yeah.
I'm not an investor.
They promote you like you are.
I don't know that there's any promotion. I've been here a little while. I did get an invite fairly early on, but I don't think there's been any promotion here.
Okay, can we speak to the fact that you are anti-wokeness and the progression of Black people? Do you believe in white supremacy? Do you believe in white privilege? Are those sentiments that you stand by? People here are saying that you have spewed racism across this app, so can you speak to that?
And transphobia. Yesterday he was defending the binary.
Wait, why was Dio down in the audience? What happened?
Yeah, what happened?
I think they left.
Oh, they probably moved themselves. Go ahead.
Can I ask something of you before I answer your questions?
Did you answer those questions? Do you support white supremacy? Are you anti-racist?
And transphobia.
Okay. I'm happy to do all these things, but I would ask you to try to listen. Listen, white man, we're in charge here, okay? We ask you some questions. You can answer them or you can go.
Don't ask
So, Brett,
Here's
the problem, Brett. It's the same thing if I was to ask the president of the United States, what a previous president. When I asked him,
Gerald, we're not even gonna do that. He knows exactly what we asked him. Brett, are you anti-racist? Are you transphobic? Are you anti-black? Like, give us the answers right now and quickly, or you're gonna get off the stage.
Sure, 100%. But let me correct something Marcy said first.
100% what? Are you 100% anti-black, or are you 100% anti-racist? What's going on?
Okay, I am 100%.
I don't like the way that he had made Marcy explain what was happening. Or he tried.
No, I just wanted to know. Look, come on.
Can y'all please stop trying to let this man wiggle out of the answering the questions? Go, Brett.
Okay, first of all, I'm not a classical liberal. I'm an actual liberal. Okay, far left. Have been my whole life. I am thoroughly anti-racist by any normal definition, but I don't like Kendi's definition of anti-racist. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm not by any stretch of the imagination a white supremacist. As a matter of fact, I'm not even sure whether I qualify as white. I'm Jewish. It's a different thing. My people have been persecuted by Europeans.
You are, Brett. You're just spicy white, but continue.
Okay, fine. I'll take that. I don't think it's a simple issue. And to be honest, was there a third question on the... Oh, am I transphobic?
Are you transphobic?
I am not the least bit transphobic. As a matter of fact, I was a professor.
Can you stop right there? Protecting trans rights has nothing to do with negating the sexual binary, and it does not require any new pronouns. Those claims are instead about wielding power over others. Because it is acts and the replies, they, them is not helpful. That is again about power. He, him, and she, her are all that is necessary. So I'm confused. Why are you up here saying you're not transphobic?
Very simple reason, which is that in every interaction I've had with trans people, and it has been many interactions, simply figuring out which pronouns are preferred, whether it's he, him, or she, her, has been absolutely sufficient, right? We don't need to make
You've not met every trans person. You haven't met every single trans person.
No, you're right.
Brett, we were on the panel together last night. Do you remember me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Brett?
I did,
yeah,
of course.
So you're saying that having to use they, them pronouns is not within your capacity because you feel like he, him, she, her pronouns are sufficient enough to cover everybody's gender identity and how they want to be identified via pronouns?
Well, let me just say, I'm an evolutionary biologist. I'm very interested in how language actually changes. Say again?
A eugenicist. That's what you mean as evolution.
No.
Those are the same thing.
It's not the same thing.
They are the same.
It's not the same thing. In fact,
they're the same.
one of my
argue that here. You're not about to try to wiggle out of that.
I'm not trying to wiggle out of anything.
For eugenicist. Yes,
I'm not trying to wiggle out of anything. Look, racism and genocide are products of evolution. I don't favor them. I recognize that they emerge out of evolution, and part of what I want to do is help people to understand why that is and what we can do about it. Okay?
Okay. So I want you to be able to explain that, but I just want to be clear. Last night when you were naming things that I clearly identified as transphobic, and that other folks did too, you push back to say that biology was something that was important, right? But now this sentiment around pronouns actually reaffirms the narrative that there is a particular investment in how you want to move culturally transphobically, where you actually literally want to actually remove people's agency and what feels affirming to them in their gender identity, but just even in their own affirmation at all. So Brett, you agree you're transphobic?
No, I don't agree that I'm
You're a scientist and you used anecdotal experience to justify your view on pronouns. You're a scientist. Just because someone has only ever eaten hot dogs doesn't mean that hamburgers don't exist. And if hamburgers can see your statements, then why are you making them?
And we also cannot remove science as a part of transphobia. Evolutionary biology is a means to spread scientific transphobia. Those two things are linked. Science as an institution was built in transphobia and anti-blackness. So you saying that you are an evolutionary biologist does little to claim eugenesis was also a field in science. So your claims do not push the fact that you are not transphobic. That's still a transphobic position to take.
It's not transphobic. I'm interested in seeing trans people.
How can you say that something is not transphobic when people are literally telling you that it's transphobic? Privilege. It's like
so I don't understand how you think this works. Okay, we can have a disagreement. We can have a disagreement about whether or not I'm transphobic.
You sound like my dad. No, we can't have a disagreement.
So Brett, with this,
Brett, you're gonna have to go to the audience and you need to cash up everybody up here $1,000 for you coming back up. Next.
You know he got it. Sorry.
Disagreement. Started the conversation off saying you weren't a white supremacist, and you completely started this talking points and anecdotes. You don't really look at that as being a white supremacist.
He's used to talking himself out of shit. Oh my God, I thought it was on mute.
He's
if you stand up white supremacy, you are a white supremacist. And that's what we just let you speak, and that's exactly what you just spewed, white supremacy.
I also think that, so within my studies and within my experiences, right, I do want white people to reject whiteness because I want them to be anti-white. However, within this, within the context that he brought it up and being like, oh, I don't even consider myself white, I consider myself Jewish. That's how I know that he's full of shit. Because when you truly reject whiteness, you really know that you are a white person, and you know the ways in which your whiteness is violent and the ways in which your whiteness has been commodified in this country. And so therefore, if you truly want to reject whiteness, you embrace that entirety of your whiteness, and you use that argument as the premise to reject your whiteness because of the studies and the fucking whatever, all the shit that you've learned in your life to reject your whiteness, not because you want to identify with one particular part of your whiteness and then reject the rest of it. That's not how that fucking works, white people.
Yeah, sorry.
I think they're black and Arab too.
Yeah, sorry. J.W. Lucas, I don't know why you're raising your hand. I was wondering why you look so familiar. J.W. Lucas was on, he went on an Instagram rampage basically talking about Breonna Taylor and talking about her husband. It was something about that. I don't actually remember. He was arguing with Tamika Mallory and basically I think was trying to like more or less blame Breonna Taylor for her death. So I don't know why you're even in this room, because you're about to get removed from the room, honestly, because you're a whole ass white supremacist. Like, please, whoever...
Yeah, you don't deserve the labor.
Whoever's next, please go ahead.
Well, really quick, for those of us that didn't really know what Brett Weinstein was responsible for, I just attached an article from the Evergreen scandal of the school he and his wife used to teach at. It's in my bio. We come with the facts over here, baby. I know you're still in the audience, Brett. Go ahead and read about yourself. I know your narcissistic ass probably wants to. Next on the stack, we have got Jackie. Is Jackie still here? Oh, okay. Jackie don't want to talk.
Oh, yeah. I just added her back because she went to the audience and came back. So I don't know if maybe something's going on with her phone or...
Well, we can come back. It's okay. So I'm going to put an asterisk next to Jackie's name. Bernard.
Hey, y'all. I just need to take a breath before I get into it. Brooklyn, first of all, thank you so much for commandeering and then subsequently creating this space. I appreciate it. I came in here because the title looked ridiculous to me. Because... first of all, wokeism, you know that they meant a negative connotation when they put ism on the end of it. It could have been wokeness, could have been woke culture even, which I don't even agree with, could have been woke stuff, but no, ism, like racism, like sexism, really. And then obsessed, another negatively connotated word, right? Obsession, oh, if you're obsessed with this, oh, you can't stop thinking about this. I just thought it was just, oh God, sorry, I have to take a breath. Ridiculous. And just to clarify, thank you again, Brooklyn, and those of y'all who spoke up. But when I said, I wanted to let Black Americans go first, it's because this conversation is obviously rooted in American, in the American racial environment. And while I do identify as a Black Bahamian, I just feel that, it's a bit different. And I just wanted to let other voices speak. But thank you guys for welcoming me. I appreciate it. What I think is happening here, Clubhouse is not obsessed with, well, I don't even want to say it. That word. It's obsessed with fake and self-serving allyship. And this was not allyship. What was happening in this room, which I didn't even hear, but just hearing from what y'all had said was being said, it's not allyship. And I just know that there are people down in the audience who are writing down everything that they think is offensive that some of us in here have said. They're writing everything that they think they can use to say that all these crazy people took over the room, and tomorrow the room is going to be, let's talk about that crazy shit that happened yesterday, and not let's talk about the pain
really
and
quick,
the relief
really quick, Bernard.
Yes,
I'm sorry, but I was saying earlier how we need to all be expanding our vocabularies to make sure we're not being ableist. I know please. Myself, especially come from Brooklyn, crazy, wild, stupid, like that stuff is in our vocab, but we really need to unlearn it because it is ableist. But I just want to recorrect you.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I won't say it again. You're so right. Yes, and I unfortunately I think that's the language they'll probably use. But I think that what I was saying is like tomorrow or later, there's going to be a room that's going to talk about all the stuff that happened in here, and it's not going to talk about the pain that they saw or the relief that they saw when Black people finally had a room where they were able to speak and be in control of the conversation and not interrupted. Because I think what tends to happen, and I've seen this a number of times, I'm in a lot of rooms, and I've just very recently there was a room that was talking about allyship, and there was someone who came in to talk about ball culture in New York City. and about how it was co-opted, and it's being co-opted now to the point where there are people who have never struggled with the LGBTQI issues, especially BIPOC LGBTQI issues in New York City and all over America, and there are people who are making money off of the form of voguing, of ball culture, who have never been associated with the culture, while people who are associated with the culture and have been in ball culture for 20 years are still, living paycheck to paycheck, right? And then the room was silent. This is a room that had been consistently just praising each other and talking about how they were all here doing the work, and they were all here, being good allies and having great conversation that was respectful, and then it went silent. And then one person spoke up and said, "Oh well, in my vote place in Russia or something, we watched a video on the ball culture, and we made sure to learn about it before we kept dancing." And then everyone congratulated that and moved on. And that person who talked about ball culture left because they didn't feel heard. And my challenge to everybody down in the audience is not to come away from this saying, "Oh my gosh, that room got taken over and it got completely changed." Maybe come away from this and think, "Wow, listen to all that pain I heard. Like, why is there no acknowledgement of the pain? Why is there no acknowledgement of the fact that a number of people in here expressed how relieved they were to finally be in a space like this? Why is there no acknowledgement of that? Why are all these rooms moderated by mostly white people?" And then this happens in the real world too. People have a panel on allyship or on anti-racism, and they invite one person. Sometimes they ask them to come for one black person to come and talk to the panel. Usually they ask them to come for free, which is ridiculous. And anyway, I think I've lost my train of speaking. But anyway, that's all.
We definitely heard what you were saying. Appreciate it, Bernard.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, sorry.
I feel like you summed up the action that happened just now pretty well.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. That guy who came in. What's his name? I don't even want to say. The moderator who's tweeting now, right? Like
Michael.
Yeah. His first response when he came back, when he came back up here, was to say that, "Oh well, there was a coup." A fucking coup. We're on the internet. This is an app, okay? I know it's an important place and a lot of great conversations happen here, but you're fine. No one lost any money tonight. No one lost any clout tonight. No one lost any privileges tonight. We have to remember, this is an app where a bunch of people are chatting. This is not the streets. This is not a boardroom. This is not a UN conference room. A coup is such strong language to simply talk about the people who are being implicitly named in the title, taking over the conversation in order to center it around the people that other people here are claiming to be allies for. If you claim to be an ally for people, your first job should be to listen to those people, listen to their experiences, acknowledge their experiences, find out how you can make their experience better, and then maybe, not even defend yourself. Defending yourself should be the last thing on your mind, but it's always the first. And with that, I yield my time.
I am literally just this is why I don't really keep a lot of white people close to me, honestly. It's because I don't want to have to educate people that I'm around. I would have much rather educate black people about other shit, honestly. I genuinely would. But like I said before, I do like getting into these conversations with white folk because I like to flex my intellectual skills and talking to them in certain ways. But it's very, very, very irritating to have to consistently defend your humanity and consistently defend the experiences that you are going through. And also within a room that is titled woke, which y'all just learned about this word this year. This is I was raised. My name is Dio. I am not a continental African woman, okay? My parents I was born in the 90s. My parents were very Afrocentric, woke-ass people that wanted to name me a name that was connected within my Nigerian heritage through slavery. So my parents been woke, okay? I knew about woke since 1994, since the year that I was born, okay? I celebrated Kwanzaa. Literally, my parents celebrated Kwanzaa from before I was born. And I have always been connected within my blackness. I do not see myself as a victim. However, I am not afraid to call out other shit when I know it's not okay. And I feel like people change the word woke and they conflate it with being the same thing as being a snowflake. And that is so fucking ingenuous and so fucking inappropriate. Because when there are Black people that are in this room or that are talking to you, and we're the only ones that get labeled as being quote unquote woke police, included with some other random white people that want to defend us or want to defend when they know that something is racist or sexist, I feel like it's ingenuous to even have a conversation about it because you know what your stance is, and you are not having this conversation to learn. You're having a conversation to big up your own shit. You're having a conversation to basically tell everybody else that they're wrong. You're having a conversation to talk about how white people are poor. Bitch, I don't give a fuck that white people are poor. Black millionaires are an anomaly. White millionaires are not an anomaly. So even if you combine classism, or if you combine social economic status with race, you will always see that Black people, Black queer people, Black trans people are always going to be at the end of that. And I am just very, very irritated with consistently having to teach people or talk to them about it, especially when they act like, quote unquote, they want to learn. But then when you tell them something, it's automatically a defense. And it's like the conversations don't fucking go past that then. Because now it's just a wall that we've reached and y'all don't want to move through it, but you acting like you do.
Because at the end of the day, when this room first started with all those white mobs, there was like 400 people in here. And Brooklyn, when you took over, it was very telling that all of those white people left. Suddenly pockets are dry. It's just like, this is why Clubhouse is quote unquote obsessed with wokeism. Because when we say simple things like, hey, listen to Black people, hey, pay us, they're like, we don't know how to do that. And it's just all so it's too much. Frustrating. All of a sudden it's too much. And
again? Yeah, again, sis. Nigga, and Brett, you're still here.
Can y'all pick me? Like,
I got you. I gotta remember.
At the room?
But real quick, Brett, you're still here. You need to Cash App. Like, you need to Venmo. There's Cash Apps in the bio. Josh has their Cash App. Hunter has their Cash App. Like, stop playing. You came up here and really tried to play in our face. Bring out your... Oh, you got your hand up? You must have your wallet out, too.
Ooh.
I know with them 400,000 followers, you got at least a couple thousand in your bank.
To be honest, I don't even understand the request to Cash App in this case.
I don't even understand the request and the reason why you got on.
You might understand it better in the audience.
Next, what the fuck? You literally said listen to Black people, and what are you doing? Not listening to Black people. Like what? Why are you? And you just got a Clubhouse room if you're not listening. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Why you just got up here and you were talking about how you're you're anti-racist and you're anti-Black, but here you are refusing to Cash App and pay people for their emotional labor, for educating you, and for listening to your bullshit.
Also, really, what ended up happening is George did not plainly state in front of Michael his intention and like having someone replace him. So Michael didn't, follow that protocol. And I was actually texting George the entire time that I don't understand why Michael's up here, because while he might have started this room, he's not contributing much. And him being in the top left corner is just mirroring society in the way that Black people do all the work of the actual moderation of the room, and he gets to just sit there and do nothing and make executive decisions. So I'm happy that the coup was thrown. I just wanted to say that
we're not using coup, right?
I'm using cool. I am readapting the word coup in this situation. There was a coup that occurred, and I am reimagining this word in this instance. Yes,
I'm here for it.
If we're gonna use the word coup, it was a coup, since I'm the person who effectively took over the room. If we're going to use coup, I just hope that we incorporate it with the slogan of the Haitian Revolution, coupe tête, because that's exactly what happened.
It was a Haitian revolution.
It was a Haitian revolution.
It was a Haitian revolution.
Okay, I think it's important for me to pause there and to just clarify what she just said. She said, if we're going to use the word coup, we should attach it to the slogan from the Haitian Revolution, which was coupe tête, boule caille, which translates to burn houses and chop off heads. So she is glorifying and celebrating what happened in the Haitian Revolution, which is not just a revolution against the colonial slave owners. It was killing women and children in an incredibly brutal fashion, chopping off heads. So her goal is to burn shit down. They talk about it again later. And to chop off heads, which is a very non-subtle threat of violence. I mean, it's weird that she'll say it in French but not in English. So there's a little bit of pussydom going on here. But I mean, look, you guys know I could comment on every single thing said here. But this is raw insanity and fuckery to a level that I have never before been exposed. And it lets you know just what the dregs of society look like and sound like. So prep yourself, go through the emotional labor of understanding that these are the people that you're going to have to deal with. Whether it's, I don't even know, at the job, in general society, at the PTA meeting. If you're in America and you're dealing with people, these are their talking points. And this is the type of mind, the caliber of person that we're dealing with. Oh, so by the way, if you don't think this is pushing for a race war, you're sadly mistaken. It's time to buy guns. And that's coming from Devin Tracy. Those of you who have known my content knows the gravity of that statement.
Yes. I literally said that to George. It's so funny you said that because I was just like, George was like laughing. Well, he wasn't laughing. He was just like taking it serious. And he was just like, I don't understand. Like, I thought the balance would be kept. And I was just like, George, this was the Haitian Revolution. And then we started arguing about whether or not it was comparable. But so crazy you said that. All right, I'm going to stop taking space. Thanks, guys.
Okay, back to the stack, right? So I was first, but Jerio, Nicolette, and Sasha, y'all can go first, and then Marcy, and then I'll go.
Brooklyn, word to the people, Kubetet Bulekai. I love the Haitians. I feel like I came on here really to drag Brent for trying to come on this stage and say the foolishness that is the foolishness he tried to display in this space. I'm just very upset. This man said, I'm an evolutionary biologist, so there's no way possible. I just have to explain. And the way this white man tried to come up here with his $2 words to explain racism to me as though science has been using $2 words to rationalize their racism for centuries. That was why science was made. I'm confused to why word to Afro-pessimism, this shit must burn. There's no way that any institution that exists in this world will continue to be existing. Like, what do you mean? You trying to explain to me why your race... Of course, your science can explain to you why racism works out the way it was. It was created for that purpose. Your God was created for that purpose. Everything about this world was created off anti-blackness. So how you going to come into this space and tell me that you got your degree and you're going to explain to me why what you said, you just need to explain why genocide happens. Nigga, are you dumb? Saidia Harm... Oh, excuse my ableism. I am trying... anywho, the New York comes out of
it has to be unlearned. It has to be unlearned. It's a process. It must be
unlearned. The way that Brent speaks about the why we must explain why genocides happen, as though Saidia Hartman, the beautiful Saidia Hartman, hasn't told us that white people they come up with their lowercase t's and they make their lowercase truths into capital truths or facts. All the facts in the world right now is what a white person's interpretation of reality. Their interpretation of reality is based in...
Wait.
What just happened?
Maybe she got a phone call.
No, but I'm seeing multiple people get removed.
Yeah, that was a really good question. Because I ain't taking nobody.
You in trouble now?
Me neither. Isaiah, it's about time you put that picture up because you weren't coming up here.
No, but I think he was like cooning in the first one, like earlier.
Oh, because he had no picture, then now it's a black man. A Google picture much?
Jerry, were you finished? I don't know what happened.
I was not finished. What was the last thing I heard?
Everything we know is from a white person's point of view. They've created all this shit. All of it comes from the winners of history.
Mm-hmm. So I'm like, they're sitting there describing these realities. I'm confused to why they want us to believe. Like, well, that was as much as the point I wanted to say. I am also neuroatypical, so I lost point of like that whole thing fucked up my shit. I forgot what I was saying, but the fact that he wanted to come in his chest and say that as though that was supposed to be a reason why we should believe him, as though intelligence isn't a construction that white people said was a thing that they needed to load so that we could divide it. Like, this is intelligence as a construction is rooted in ableism. You were just telling me that you could learn this shit. No, nigga, you had skills. Somebody taught you to do this. Like, that's not, you not actually smart. Intelligence is, we must leave this shit behind. That construction makes no sense. And you about to come and tell me that it does make sense based on your evolutionary biology or whatever other eugenic metric you want to come and bring. We know it's anti-blackness. You could get off the stage. We don't want to hear nothing else you have to say. I'm done speaking.
Thank you, Jerry. Next, and I spelled your name wrong. I'm gonna correct it, even though it's a stack. Next we have Nicolette.
Hey y'all, my name is Nicolette. I use she, they pronouns. I just got into the space, but I just wanted to offer, like, I'm very tired of, like, white folks, especially white men, like, starting these rooms with these very, like, inflammatory ass titles, like, shit like, is Clubhouse obsessed with wokeism? There was one room that I was in and the title was like, is cultural appropriation an actual problem? And I said, why is this a fucking question? Like, why are y'all even posing this question to begin with? And it's like, they always try to play like the victim when you get on the stage and you call them out and you're like, this is anti-black as fuck, like, and the room, like, and open, you know, and do some, you know, learning, do some unlearning, I should say, of the shit that you are literally perpetuating in this space. And I just wanted to say, like, I think oftentimes, like, white folks are very intellectually dishonest in these conversations. They love to pretend like they don't know what they're doing. And people like to infantilize white people and give them a pass. But, like, that's not what we doing here. Like, and I think, like, so many times, like, I just think back to that room that I was in where it was this white man named Ned, and he started a room called Is Cultural Appropriation an Actual Problem? And I literally, like, had factual analysis, had, like, systemic analysis, and he responded, well, I don't think anyone on the stage is here making bad faith arguments. And it's like, it's not about bad faith or good faith. Like, you are literally perpetuating, like, anti-blackness in this space. Like, you're perpetuating anti-blackness through the things that you are sharing in this space, right? And it's like, you benefit from anti-blackness. So it's like, it's not about good faith or bad faith. I'm tired of white men expecting everyone to debate like a white man. There is no fucking both sides. Get rid of liberalism. Like, there is no fucking both sides. Like, you're violent as hell. Please stop. And that's all I had to offer.
Nicolette made him end the room.
After Nicolette, we got Sasha, then Marcy, and then myself. Anyone else want to get added to the stack?
I want to get added to the stack, Isaiah.
Isaiah, you better be a black man. Next. Anyone?
You can add me again. Dio.
Dio.
Am I up?
Yeah.
Oh. Just wanted to say, Madame Toussaint, ça passe.
I was about to say, why you took my last name? What's good, brethren?
Real quick, I kind of wanted to bring about a word of caution about explaining if racism exists. Over the past year, I've had a bunch of people asking me about my experiences with racism and if racism actually exists. And what I've realized after a while is that they don't actually care about my opinion or my experiences. They're either listening so that they can go and tell their friends that they've talked to a black person and they can confirm that it does or does not, whatever. Or they're trying to tell me that my experiences are invalid and I'm misinterpreting a situation as racism. So in general, I've stopped answering the question and started asking, why do you think it doesn't exist? Because it's either all black people are making it up or what, right? That's all I got.
Thank you. Just wanted to make sure you were done. Let's go Isaiah, Marcy, Dio.
So I've a while, and it's just kind of so there was a question that was posed.
Let's start first, Isaiah. You were in here cooning. Why was that, sir?
No, there was no cooning going on. What happened was I was telling
was he cooning? Because that's what y'all said.
I definitely heard you like you're going back and forth with like
This is you with the picture up now.
Yeah, before. Can you just go? You can go ahead.
One of the points that I made was they're getting so upset about the language that people are using, but they don't want to actually address any of the underlying issues that people are talking about. And then when you bring up, and then they say, oh, why can't we have a discussion about the underlying issues that people are talking about? And then when you actually do the good faith effort of providing evidence of the good faith issues that people are talking about, it's silence. Because there's no conversation that they want to have about those things. So when you say things like, oh, schools are resegregated after Brown v. Board. Oh, the Republican Party is over here actually trying to steal Black people's voting rights today. Nobody wants to have that conversation. But they have some sort of problem with, I don't know, people getting canceled or something, but they don't want to actually deal with the underlying issues that are objectively there. And what was that dude talking about evolutionary biology, genocides having benefits? So I'm an immunologist by training. A lot of that evolutionary biology is a lot of just so stories with no actual evidence, because things are good because they exist. That means that they necessarily have some benefit biologically for them existing. But I don't see any evidence that genocide, which is a social thing that humans do, as necessarily being one way or another biologically.
Thank you. Are you finished, Edo?
Yep, all done.
Okay, cool. So next we have Marseille.
Hey, thanks for getting my name right. Hi, Brooklyn. I was in this room way earlier this morning, and I don't know. I mean, I know what to say, but I knew this clash was going to happen. I knew the two groups would eventually clash, because I've been in some of these discussions. I don't know what to offer here. I can't really offer y'all anything because I think that everybody here has spoken up for themselves. I think I'm curious to know how do you guys feel about people with our politics engaging in conversations like this? Is it possible? Is it something that we can do? Because I don't know what Isaiah was saying earlier that made you guys kind of say he was cooning a little bit, but sometimes I get up and speak in these rooms, but I just wanted to know, like, what are we measuring? What's the measuring? Where's the line at? You know, I'm just curious. And I don't mean that, I'm just asking because I totally agree with everything that's been said. I just want to make sure going forward that, I don't know, I guess I'm just trying to get into alignment, I guess. So I'm a little confused. If y'all could explain.
I would also like to know what I said that made anybody think I was cooning.
That's troublesome to me, because if I debate people, I don't want to be, I don't think I'm a coon or a saint.
There was somebody without a picture who was basically going back and forth, sort of picking up for what some of the white supremacist folks were saying. And I do remember that Isaiah didn't have a photo, so I thought they were that person, and that's why we're hesitant to let you up on the stage. So I definitely do remember when you brought up Georgia and the voting rights across the country. So no, you were not cooning, but there was somebody else who did not have a picture that was in the conversation and sort of kind of being in the middle.
They were bringing up Black conservatives who are professional coons, as if that's supposed to be some sort of you're the one out of 100 who has this view, and that's supposed to make you somehow your view mainstream. I don't know what the point of that is. John McWhorter was one that was brought up. Oh, well, have you read him? Come on, I'm Black. Yeah, but he ain't saying shit.
Black Republicans or 3 Black conservatives, and it was very much, just
they ain't saying shit. They talk. Black Republicans are for white people. To talk to white people. Other Black people don't listen to them. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, they got no clout with actual black people.
It's just obvious to me now that a lot of the conversations that we have had on this app, especially in that club to the left, that people aren't really coming to those rooms and really listening to some of the things that are being talked about. And I think that there is this narrative, and I'm talking to the people in the audience, that all we talk about is race, but we also talk about things that are adjacent to that, and equity and capitalism, and the conversations are really rich. And I think the part where I take offense is that there's this idea that again, like, wokeism is this cult, and I would just, the only thing I can offer is for people in the audience is to maybe sit and listen to what everyone has to say. Otherwise, things like this will continue to happen. I mean, I'm not surprised that this happened because, again, like, somehow it seems like in the middle of some of these conversations that some form of tokenism does seem to happen, where there's this one black person who has this belief system that validates us. And I think that Hunter said in another talk that, there are just some bridges that aren't going to be built. And I agree with that. But I think that I think the stages need to be a little bit more diverse. And I think that the stages need to be a little bit smaller. Not in this case, but I'm just saying that these talks are going to happen. And I don't think that it's necessarily fair to turn what happened today into some kind of like, on their end, it's some like they were bullying us. If, I wasn't here when the things were said, but it sounds like to me like, some horrific things were said. So, yeah, that's all I really have to offer. I'm just trying to get my thoughts together right now. This is like the second day in a row. Like, it seems like the left, like, there's a generational clash. There's a interpersonal clash between black progressives and black conservatives, where they say those people on this app. So it feels like there's a fight on all fronts. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. I just wanted to clarify that, like, I was, I don't know. Sorry, that's all I have to offer.
Thank you, Marcy. I don't think there's really a clash. The others just don't want to understand that black people come first. Next on the list, it's actually me. Hey. Okay, so going over what has happened today, I feel like first, right, I want to take note how there were white people who were quiet when there were black people. I think it was exactly, I don't know how to say their name, but it was like y'all know who I'm talking about, right?
DeGero.
Thank you. DeGero. He was trying to talk, and they were like, Andy was continuously talking right through him, right over him. And that's when I finally raised my hand. I was like, no. And I was going to get up here, right? And it's like, these white people were silent. But when the room hijack took place and the white people were kicked off the stage or being kicked off the stage, now it's voice trembling. This is unproductive and I'm leaving. And white people always feel like if they're leaving, that means the worth or the value in a place is going down. Bitch, we were waiting for you to hit the door. Like, I don't know what your problem is. Like, yes, this is Clubhouse. Yes, this is an app, 100%, but you don't think that you're about to be playing in my face over something that I literally go through every single day, something that my people get killed over, and you gaslight me, making me feel like this is not serious, right? Then you're taking it a step further and going on Twitter and going on a mocking parade, trying to act like we, actually harmed people and we were the ones being harmed. Leave out the fact that you were letting white people interrupt black people, but then you're only going to talk about how we hijacked the room, how we quote-unquote stole something. I can't steal shit from you when you're the one being violent and I decide to stop your violence. That's not me being aggressive. That's not me being a bully, a tyrant. That's nothing. What that is me reacting to the violence that was inflicted upon me. Even when I got up here, they tried to say something along the lines of, you're interrupting people. And it's like, no, I was trying to make sure DeGero was finished speaking. And if y'all couldn't even hear me, how am I interrupting people? Like, let's make it make sense, right? And it was just like the whole way they were talking to me, and I had kind of just walked in at the moment. I was here earlier, but I left. But it was like, okay, just say your point. Like, hurry up, nigga. Just talk and go. Like, I did not like the vibe at all. I commend y'all for staying through the conversation and, going back and forth with them, because we need to let them know there's always going to be resistance to anti-blackness, to racism, whether it's on an app or in real life. Like, you might get punched in your face dealing with this shit and these rhetorics out in the real world. And I feel like hijacking a room is, that's like, kind of an equivalent, whatever. But, it's not even, it doesn't even really come close to what could happen. And I think that's something that y'all are not necessarily mindful of. A lot of non-black people, y'all get in positions or y'all have certain status where you feel like you're really above certain things. And let me tell you, you are never above me. I don't care if your government still considers me 3/5 of a person. I'm 7/5 a person, baby. I'm unmatched, okay? Unnatural, all of that. So please do not ever try that. Do not ever disrespect black people when the title of your name is created by black people. And the whole woke thing, like, I don't even understand. Like, are we not supposed to, like, fight for our liberation? Now you're mad that we're banding together or we're trying to have conversations to free ourselves from your bullshit constructs that have continuously oppressed us. Now we tripping? Now it's a cult? Okay. There's no stock currently. Does anyone want to get added?
I just want to say, but there are white people who literally have no purpose in this world but to terrorize, who literally get together and organize better than the white people who be in these rooms trying to transform this world. That don't make no motherfucking sense to me. Y'all cannot get together and go intervene the state. Y'all cannot go free niggas out of prisons today. Y'all cannot organize together. You cannot go rob a bank today. It's just not adding up. You can't give your houses up today. What you mean? You got 5. Like, what you mean? You got 6 cars. Like, what you mean? I don't get it. I'll never get it. And it's like, and even if you don't have anything, right? Because then, here come the poor white people, the spicy white people, the white people who apparently live at some intersection of oppression. And I'd be like, nobody gives a fuck because your whiteness literally usurps that. And that's not our fault. That is because of the design that white people created, right? So even in that, why aren't you collectively together strategizing how to intervene the state? Because you die too, right? Like, so if it's not for black people, is it for yourself? Because you don't get to live in this world unscathed that is designed by anti-blackness that literally sets everybody up for death, right? It's designed around black death, but you die too, right? Like, so I'm not really clear. Like, you don't get free without black people getting free. And I don't know if freedom is even possible for white people. But again, like, no matter what your motives are, I don't understand not organizing to actually shift that reality. And I also just don't even understand the placating of having a conversation when you know that you're not really invested in it. You literally don't have to. There are white people who have mad platforms. Huh?
Sorry, that was me on accident. Apologize.
Oh, no worries. I was like, what's going on, honey? But yeah, I just wanted to add that that's just what's on my heart. I think the past couple of days have just been so interesting because now I don't want to get banned, so I'm really watching my words because really what I want to say, because I feel like niggas who know what I really want to say have heard me say this months ago, right? But what I really, again, always come back to is the fact that, no, these people are not redeemable. No, there is no transformation for non-black people. No, right? And it's and I know that that's always the conversation when they host it, right? Where it's how do we change the world? No, the world has to burn. Right? The world has to be set on fire if it requires that black people die. I'm not going to save a world that says that niggas gotta die. I'm not going to pray to a God that says that niggas gotta die. I'm not going to fuck with that. So it's and I think the rage that lives in my body is that what it demands is that black people have to be put into these moral situations to determine how we now have to respond to people who don't have morality for our being, right? Where it's now we have to be violent because you were violent, right? We have to actually push past maybe an ethic that we want to stand by or even spirituality that we want to stand by just to defend ourselves, right? Which means that then we have to actually sever ourselves from what we really believe because we want to live. And the fact that we even have to be put into that contradiction in and of itself is the most violent thing, right? Because there are niggas I'm sure Nat Turner didn't wake up and think, dang, I want to kill a white baby today. I'm sure Nat Turner never wanted to think about killing children at all, right? But just knew that he wanted to get fucking free, and it meant that he was going to have to kill the white people who was going to fucking keep him enslaved and was going to keep his people locked up. So I think in that regard, right, when we are put into these contradictions, it absolutely will always usurp anything that white people got to say or think that they're not doing enough of. You don't have to sacrifice anything in your ethic, anything in your spirituality, because it all aligns with black death.
you don't have to sacrifice anything to live. Like, and we have to sacrifice everything just to stay alive. Like, in a world that is already determined that we should die. And I think that that's what's on my heart, because I'm just thinking about all the Black people in this space that had to sacrifice their own knowledge, their own time, even for the Black people who actually believe in the transformation of white people, the people who have to spend time trying to tell you to stop killing Black people, even with your ideologies, even with the ways that you silence niggas, even with in the space that you take up. Just by existing, you already killed Black people. Like, so it's like, I keep thinking, like, no, none of us deserve that shit. And so I know that was a little long-winded, but I had a lot on my heart, and I was very triggered, honey. I was in my trigger, so I hope that made sense. But I just want to say thank you so much, Brooklyn, for the way that you took over the space, and thank you to all the folks who was dunking on these white folks and these non-Black folks today. I didn't see everybody, so I do want to send love. And I'm sorry I can't cite everyone, but I want to say that. And thank you, Gio and Josh and Brooklyn, for moderating. And I'm just sending y'all lots of love.
Woo. Thank you, Hunter, so much for that. That was just like a full-ass sermon, and I just gave me beautiful life back after sitting in this room for so long.
And you better cash out her.
The only white people I'm interested in organizing with are the ones who are ready to burn it down. And, like, if you're not on that level, then, like, organize money that you clearly have. Organize white people to give money to the people who are ready to do it. And, like, yeah, no time for allies. Like, it just, we're so far past that. This is war. Like, watching, Judas and the Messiah, it's like, if you don't get it, like, this is war. Like, we don't have time to be educating white people. We don't have time to waste. I say that as a person who was sitting in this room. But I feel like I was sitting in this room to, like, practice just, like, how to stop with the niceness culture and, like, actually instead, like, drag people for their shitty fucking opinions.
And we shall leave it there. They go on, they drone on, but you get a healthy dose of the raw insanity on display, and aggression, and naked racism towards whites. She's talking about, we gotta burn it down, we have no time, this is war. Talking about chop off their heads, burn down their houses. Now, a lot of this is bluster and stupidity and just, primitive, spurgy anger. So it's futile and it's incoherent, and they don't have the capacity to do anything, but they might try. And so if you don't want to prepare physically, you should prepare mentally, psychologically, because that's what we're up against. And that's the prevailing view. Because the reason these schmucks feel comfortable to speak this way is because the watermark has been pushed by the mainstream. So this is a slightly more extreme version than what CNN says or what Joe Biden says. I mean, if everything is white supremacy, well then, am I not caught in a struggle of good versus evil? Am I not being oppressed? Do I need liberation? Should we start a war? What's this going to look like? I'll tell you what's going to look like. It's going to look like a race war. No one gives a fuck. I don't give a fuck that Brett Weinstein is Jewish. I don't give a fuck that he's not a transphobe or a white supremacist. He is now. He's white. Shit. A lot of classism in there. They want your houses. They want you to pay them. So it's a bunch of, like, just poverty-stricken losers who hate their lives and are willing to rage out against you. If it was just the people in this room, we don't have to worry. But you and I both know that these numbers are huge, and they're fucking everywhere. LeBron James promotes this attitude. Netflix does. Oreo Cookies does. So just lick your finger and hold it up to the wind and understand what is happening, because it's happening quick and it's spiraling into madness.